Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are looking at episode 10 in our ongoing series on Miyamoto Musashi and his Book of Five Rings.
Yeah, and we are finally hitting the fire scroll today.
We are, and we are picking up a concept that, I have to be honest, it sounds absolutely terrifying at first glance.
Oh, the title alone.
Right. We are talking about the killing sword.
It is a really heavy title. It demands attention.
It does. It sounds intense, maybe even a little violent.
Yeah.
And in a world where we are constantly talking about, mindfulness and empathy and soft skills.
Which are important.
Extremely important. But the killing sword feels like this relic from a really brutal past. So I want to clarify right out of the gate, especially as we cross-reference this with modern psychology, that we are not actually talking about physical violence here.
No, absolutely.
We are not talking about hurting people.
And that is the most critical distinction to make right at the start. In the context of high-level strategy, the killing sword is a metaphor.
A metaphor for the mind.
Right. It is the ultimate tool of the mind. If you take it literally, you miss the point entirely. Musashi was a warrior, yes, but his true battleground was the internal landscape.
So if we are not cutting down enemies on a battlefield, what exactly are we cutting?
We are cutting down internal enemies.
Okay.
Confusion, hesitation, the excuses that keep us drifting. If you look at Musashi's writing and you layer in the Stoics like Seneca, or even the concept of the charioteer from the Dhammapada, the killing sword is really the inner blade.
The inner blade, I like that.
Yeah, it is the ability to sever the gap between thinking and doing. It is the spirit of following through. So when you decide, the action is already done. There is no gap between the thought and the reality.
That concept alone, that the decision is the action, is so powerful. But before we unpack how to actually wield this inner blade, I want to share a quick message for everyone listening. If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
It really does help us keep doing these deep dives.
So our mission today, we want to equip you with a mental framework to stop drifting and start deciding.
Stop drifting.
Yeah. We are going to combine the strategic realism of Musashi with the discipline of the Stoics guys, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius.
And that charioteer mindset we mentioned earlier.
Right. We are breaking this down into 3 core pillars: will, mood, and presence.
Because those are really the 3 components of the killing sword. If you can master will, if you can govern your mood, and if you can project presence, you stop negotiating with yourself. You just become effective.
So let's start with the definition. We threw the term killing sword out there. Give it to us in plain English. When we say this is a tool for modern life, what does that actually look like for you and me?
In plain English, it is decisive clarity.
Decisive clarity.
Yeah. Think about how much time we spend in the gray zone.
Oh, all the time.
That maybe zone?
Mm-hmm.
Should I send that email? Should I have that hard conversation? Should I go to the gym?
Maybe I will go later.
Maybe tomorrow. Exactly. That is what Musashi calls a stopped mind.
A stopped mind. That implies that the flow has been blocked somehow.
It does. It means the mind gets sticky. It gets stuck on the outcome or the fear or the what-ifs.
Yeah.
And the killing sword is the principle that frees the mind by just removing that clutter.
So it is a sharp interrupt.
Yes. It is the interrupt that says, no more.
Mm-hmm.
It is the exact moment the mind stops weighing options and commits to the cut.
But hold on, because isn't weighing options a good thing? I mean, isn't that just being careful? I feel like there is a fine line between being decisive and just being rash.
That is a very fair pushback.
Yeah.
But there is a huge difference between deliberation and hesitation.
Okay, break that down.
Deliberation is gathering intel. You're figuring things out. Hesitation is fear disguised as thinking.
Oh, wow. Fear disguised as thinking.
Yeah, because Musashi is talking about the moment after you have seen the reality. You know what needs to be done, you have the facts, but you freeze.
Right. It is the paralysis.
Precisely. We have to look at the Japanese term here, which is setsuna.
Setsuna.
It is a concept that appears a lot in Zen and martial arts. It essentially means the ultimate split second. In sword fighting, setsuna is the tiny space where life and death are decided.
Right.
If you are stuck in the past, like, oh, did I step correctly? You die. If you are stuck in the future thinking, will I win this fight? You die.
You are dead because you are not in the cut. You are literally time traveling in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the killing sword isn't about blood. It is about killing the gap. It is killing the time between I should and I did. Musashi is saying that any thought that isn't the action itself is an enemy.
That is a terrifyingly high standard. So when I am staring at an email and thinking about how to phrase it for 20 minutes.
To Musashi, you are already dead.
Wow.
Yeah, you have been cut down by your own hesitation. The killing sword is the tool you use to murder that hesitation before it murders your momentum. It cuts the drift.
Because most people really do just drift through their days.
They do, and this principle is that sharp wake-up call.
I remember reading about decision paralysis in some of the modern psychology sources we reviewed for this. It is that sheer exhaustion you get just from having too many open loops.
Cognitive load.
Yes.
Every unmade decision is a physical weight you carry around. The inner blade cuts those weights. It cuts the fear, the laziness, the bias, and that sticky mind we were talking about.
It is interesting if you look at Ray Dalio's principles, he says something very similar. He says success is essentially getting what you want, but you have to decide what that is first.
Right. You cannot hit a target you have not identified.
And you cannot move towards it if you are paralyzed by the fear of choosing. The sword is the decision.
Exactly. Once the cut is made, the debating society in your head is dismissed.
I love that image, dismissing the debating society. So that leads us perfectly into the first pillar, which is will. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
When I hear the word will or willpower, I think of gritting my teeth, veins popping on my forehead, just forcing myself to do something unpleasant. It feels very, I don't know, hustle culture, like just grind it out.
Right, and that is a super common misconception. But that is white knuckling. That is not will.
Okay.
White knuckling burns you out. You can only do that for so long before your brain just rebels. In the context of Musashi, and especially the Stoics, will is not about emotional struggle. It is about steady intention.
Steady intention. What does that look like in practice?
It is an intention that survives pressure. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He talks heavily about the discipline of will. For the Stoics, this was all about our attitude toward things not within our control.
Because you cannot control the world.
You cannot control the economy. You cannot control traffic. You cannot control other people. But you can always control your intention.
So it is less about forcing the world to bend to you and more about keeping your own path straight regardless of the weather.
That is a great way to put it. Musashi calls this determination. He has a very strict rule in his precepts: never stray from the way. This means once the objective is set, the path is fixed. You do not reevaluate the destination every single time you hit a bump in the road.
And that is where the drama comes in, right? We make a decision, we hit a tiny bump, and then we have this huge emotional drama about whether we should turn back. You know, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I am not cut out for this.
Commitment without drama. That is the goal here. We often mistake willpower for that dramatic internal fight. But look at the Dhammapada. It uses this beautiful image of the charioteer.
The driver of the chariot.
The driver, yeah. The true master is the charioteer who holds the reins calmly. The horses might be wild, and those horses are your impulses, your fears, your laziness. But the charioteer does not scream at the horses.
Right.
He does not get down and try to wrestle the horses. He just holds the reins. He guides them.
That is such a different vibe than the screaming drill sergeant idea of wool.
It is quiet. And Musashi gives us another very specific instruction here. He says, do not regret what you have done.
Okay, I have to pause on that one.
I thought you might.
Yeah, do not regret. That sounds a little sociopathic. I mean, if I make a mistake, shouldn't I regret it? Shouldn't I feel bad so I do not do it again?
I am really glad you brought that up, because it is probably the most common misunderstanding of his work. There is a huge difference between learning and regretting. Regret, in this specific context, is rumination.
Living in the past.
Living in the past. It is wishing reality was different than it is.
Sure.
Musashi isn't saying don't learn from your mistakes. He is saying don't dwell on them.
So it is cutting off that loop of, oh, I should have done that differently.
Right. Once the cut is made, the will moves forward, never backward. If you spend all your energy regretting the decision you made 10 minutes ago, you are not present for the decision you need to make right now. You are leaking your energy into the past.
Leaking energy. That makes a lot of sense. So how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate this steady intention without just relying on brute force?
One of the most effective tools for this actually comes from modern psychology. It is the concept of implementation intention.
Implementation intention.
It is a very academic term for a very simple formula. If X, then Y. You choose the objective before the pressure hits.
Can you give us an example of how you would use that?
Sure. Let's say you are trying to build a habit of writing in the morning. If you wake up and ask yourself, do I feel like writing today?
The answer is almost always no.
Exactly. The answer is no, because now you have to negotiate with your laziness. And your laziness is a fantastic negotiator.
It has a lot of really good arguments. You are tired, you deserve a break, you worked hard yesterday.
Exactly. Implementation intention works because it outsources the decision. It takes it out of the prefrontal cortex, which gets tired easily, and moves it to the basal ganglia, which handles habit and reflex. So you say, if I pour my coffee, then I sit at my desk. You make the decision, you make the cut the night before.
So you are basically bypassing the willpower muscle entirely.
You are turning a choice into a trigger. Think about it. You do not decide to pull your hand away from a hot stove. You just do it.
It is automatic.
Implementation intention tries to make sitting at your desk as automatic as pulling your hand from the fire. When the moment comes, you just act.
Yeah.
No negotiation with yourself. You have already wielded the sword.
You removed the choice from the moment of weakness.
Okay.
That is incredibly smart. Okay, so that is will. Steady intention. But even with the best intentions, we have bad days, we get grumpy, we get anxious, we get angry.
We're human.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second pillar, which is mood.
Mood. This is the silent killer of strategy.
Why does a strategist care about mood, though? Shouldn't we just be, logical machines?
Well, we are not machines. And Musashi, along with the Stoics, understood perfectly that unmanaged mood drives mistakes.
It clouds the lens.
Completely. Look at Seneca's work on anger. He writes that anger is a weakness, not a strength. But there is this idea in pop culture and movies that the angry warrior is the most dangerous one.
Right, the berserker rage, the guy who sees red and just destroys everything in his path.
Exactly. But Seneca says a sword is not well entrusted to an angry man. If you are angry, you are predictable. You are reactive. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing your own red haze.
And Musashi has a specific rule about this too, right?
He does. He says you must be determined though calm.
Determined though calm.
It is a delicate balance. If you are angry, your rhythm becomes visible to the opponent.
Right.
You are jerky, you are rushing. If you are fearful, your timing is off. You hesitate.
So we are really talking about governing the tone.
By governing the tone and the pace. We need to talk about emotional heat here. Musashi warns against a tensed spirit, which is that high, anxious, vibrating energy.
Like too much caffeine.
Yeah. But he also warns against a lax spirit, which is low, depressed, slow energy. We want to avoid being high like manic or low in our execution.
We want the middle path.
We want the unblemished mind. Musashi describes the mind like water. If the water is agitated, it cannot reflect the moon.
I love that imagery.
If the mind is agitated by mood, it cannot reflect reality. It distorts the picture.
Let's put this in the real world. You mentioned a story to me earlier about Musashi basically trolling an opponent.
Oh yes, the famous duel at Ganryujima. So Musashi is scheduled to fight Kujiro, who is considered the absolute greatest fencer of the age. Kujiro is a technician. He is perfect. He is standing on the beach waiting for the duel. He is perfectly on time. He is polite.
And Musashi is... Where is he?
Musashi is asleep in a boat, or he is carving an oar into a wooden sword. He eventually shows up 2 hours late. He looks a complete mess. He is not bathed.
He is intentionally messing with him.
He is absolutely attacking Kojiro's mind. Kojiro is furious. He's been waiting in a hot sun. His mood is completely shattered. He screams at Musashi, "You are late."
And Musashi just smiles.
Because Musashi has already won. He attacked Kojiro's mood before he ever swung that wooden oar. Kojiro's rhythm was broken by his own anger. Musashi governed the timeline. Kojiro became a slave to it.
Okay, so the lesson there obviously isn't be late to all your meetings.
No, please do not be late to meetings. The real lesson is that if you let your mood be dictated by external events, by someone being late, by a rude email, by bad traffic, you have lost the initiative. You are reacting, you are not acting.
But I want to clarify something here because calm can sometimes sound like passive. It can sound like you just don't care.
That is a critical distinction to make. This is not about being a robot or being indifferent. It's about calm intensity.
Calm intensity, I like that phrase.
You care deeply. The stakes are very high. But you do not leak energy. Musashi says voice shows energy. Think about when you are panicked. What happens to your voice?
It goes way up. It gets fast. Squeaky. Like, I don't know what to do.
Exactly. A high, fast voice signals panic. It signals to everyone around you that you have lost control. A calm, deep voice signals control. It signals that you have the killing sword sheathed and ready, but you are not just flailing it around blindly.
Okay, so will is the intention. Mood is the internal weather. Now let's talk about how this looks to the outside world. This is section 4, presence.
Presence. This is the signal.
The signal.
It is the physical manifestation of the killing sword. It signals to the world, and importantly to yourself, I am here and I am ready.
This reminds me of the really specific posture instructions Musashi gives. He is very detailed about exactly how to stand.
He is. He talks about having a straight neck. He says to focus the eyes but keep broad vision. He's essentially describing a state of very high alertness but total physical stability.
And there is actual modern science backing this up now.
Absolutely. Amy Cuddy's research on power posing and executive presence connects directly to this. We know now that how you stand literally changes your chemistry.
Right.
If you hunch over, if you make yourself small, your cortisol, which is the stress hormone, goes up. If you open up, if you stand with that straight neck Musashi talks about, your testosterone, the dominance and confidence hormone, goes up.
So you're basically hacking your own brain with your body posture.
You are. And at the same time, you are signaling authority to others. But here's the key point. You do not need volume to have authority.
Say a little more about that, because I think in our culture, we often equate presence with being the loudest person in the room. You know, the person who completely dominates the conversation.
Musashi talks about the quiescent sword, the silent sword, the still sword. It is often way more terrifying than the noisy one.
Oh, totally.
Think about the leader who sits quietly, listens to everyone argue, and then speaks one single sentence that just cuts straight to the heart of the matter.
That is the killing sword in action.
That is it. People follow clarity. In a world full of noise and confusion, the person who embodies that decisive lack of hesitation, the person who's not frantic, people just naturally align with their direction.
Because you cut through their confusion, too.
Exactly. You become the anchor in the storm.
I want to pause here for a second because we are using some pretty strong language. Killing sword, cutting, dominance. There is a danger here, right? We need some guardrails on this.
We really do. This brings us to Section 5, the guardrails. Because a sharp tool without safety protocols is dangerous to the user and everyone around them. We have to walk a fine line.
What does that line look like?
It is the Aristotelian mean. Aristotle taught that virtue is the middle point between two extremes. Like, courage is the mean between cowardice and rashness.
So how does that apply to the killing sword framework?
First, decisiveness is not aggression. You can be sharp, you can be clear, without being violent or abusive.
You can cut the problem without cutting the person.
Exactly. That is a great rule of thumb. Second, firmness is not cruelty. You could say no to someone without being mean about it. In fact, a clear no is often much kinder than a vague maybe that just wastes everyone's time.
Clear is kind.
Clear is kind. And finally, boundaries are not ego. When you use the killing sword to set a boundary, you are cutting off the behavior, not the person.
It is not about asserting, hey, I am the boss. It is about asserting, this is the standard.
Right. Musashi talks about the way of the water. Water is incredibly powerful. It can crush stone over time, but it was adaptable. Will without restraint just becomes chaos. It becomes tyranny. The killing sword must be wielded with benevolence and wisdom, or it just becomes a bludgeon.
Okay, so we have the theory. We have the pillars, will, mood, presence. And we have the guardrails. Now let's get really practical with this. I want to apply this to real life. Let's look at 3 specific examples. First one is work.
Okay, the classic scenario here is decision paralysis.
Oh, yeah. Let's paint the picture. You are staring at your email inbox. You have 3 major projects due. You have 10 unread messages asking for things. You are just overwhelmed. And you freeze. That is the stopped mind.
The mind is stuck in the mud. So how do we apply the killing sword?
What is the actual fix here?
The action is to cut to the objective. You have to stop and ask yourself one very specific question. What is the single next move?
Not the next 10 moves.
Just the single next move.
And then?
You choose the next clean action, and you do it. You have to entirely eliminate the rethinking loop. Don't go back and check if it was the perfect move. It was the move. The cut is made. Now move to the next one.
It is really about momentum. You are just slashing through the vines to clear the path forward.
It is. You are severing the hesitation that is actively draining your battery.
Okay, example 2. Relationships. This is a tough one. The hard conversation.
This is where mood is absolutely everything. The problem here is usually emotional spiking. You're either avoiding a topic entirely, letting resentment build up quietly, or you are about to just explode.
You are either hiding or you are yelling.
Right. There is no middle ground. The fix here is governing mood. You have to apply that unblemished mind we talked about.
So what is the action step?
Establish a calm boundary. Keep a steady tone. Remember, voice shows energy. If your voice is shaking or if you are shouting, you have lost the sword. No emotional spike. You say what is true, and then you stop.
Then stop. That is the really hard part. We always want to fill the silence.
We do. It is human nature. We want to apologize or explain ourselves or overjustify, but the killing sword cuts clean. Say the truth. I cannot do that. Or, this is not acceptable. Then silence. Do not fill the silence with an apology. Just let the truth stand.
That is powerful. Very difficult, but powerful. Okay, example 3. Habits. The excuse loop.
Oh, the morning alarm. The gym bag just staring at you from the corner. The problem here is a weak routine and constantly negotiating with yourself.
Yeah. I am too tired. I will go tomorrow. My throat hurts a little bit. Maybe I'm getting sick.
The fix here relies on will and presence. You need to entirely cut the excuse loop.
How do you do that in the moment?
Return to baseline immediately. If you slip up, if you miss a day, do not spiral. The Stoics say, amend the error. Just fix it. The killing sword severs the negotiation. You just go. The exact moment the excuse pops up in your head, you cut it. No. And you move your body.
It sounds simple, but it requires constant vigilance.
It does. It is a daily practice.
Speaking of practice, let's do something we do not usually do on the show. Let's actually walk through a mental exercise right now. We are calling this the Clarity Cut Reset.
This is something you can do in maybe 2 minutes, anywhere, whenever you feel that stopped mind kicking in.
Okay, I invite you, the listener, to try this right now, wherever you are, assuming you are safe to do so. Obviously, don't close your eyes if you are driving.
Right. Keep your eyes on the road. Let's walk through it slowly. First, pause and soften the body. We carry so much tension when we are undecided. Just deliberately release the tension.
Okay, body soft.
Next, relax the jaw and the shoulders. Remember Musashi's physical alignment. Straight neck, loose shoulders. Let it drop. Now, name the objective in one sentence. What are you trying to do right now? Bring all your focus to it.
Got it.
Now, name the strongest distraction in one sentence. Is it fear? Is it your phone? Is it hunger? Identify the enemy clearly.
Identify.
Now, say this either internally or out loud. I cut that off for today. Actually visualize the blade coming down, severing the connection to that distraction entirely.
Cut.
Now, choose the smallest clean action that moves the objective forward. Not the biggest action, the smallest clean action.
Okay.
Choose one calm phrase you will repeat when the pressure starts to rise again. A mantra, an internal citadel. Maybe it is just the word steady. Maybe it is forward.
Steady.
Finally, commit to one proof action today. Prove to yourself that the cut was really made.
Just going through that, it feels lighter, like dropping a really heavy bag.
That is exactly the point. Clarity is light, confusion is heavy.
Before we wrap this up, let's troubleshoot a bit, because people are going to try this, and they are inevitably going to mess it up at first. What are the common mistakes? I think we have 5 main ones.
Mistake 1 is the big one we touched on earlier. Mistaking anger for strength.
Thinking you need to be absolutely furious to be decisive.
The fix is to recall Seneca. Anger is a crack in the vessel. You have to replace heat with cold, clear resolve. You are not a volcano, you are an iceberg.
Mistake 2.
Waiting for the feeling. Waiting until you genuinely feel like doing the work.
Because motivation is a myth.
It really is. The fix here is knowing that action creates feeling. Use the sword to cut the wait time. Do the thing first, and the feeling will follow naturally.
Mistake 3.
Leaking energy. This looks like fidgeting, rambling, complaining.
What is the fix for that?
Watch your voice and your gestures. Contain your power. Musashi talks about holding down the pillow of your impulse. Don't let the energy escape into the room. Channel it into the cut itself.
Mistake 4.
Rigid attachment. Thinking that once you make a decision, you can never change course, even if the building catches on fire.
Right. The sword isn't a suicide pact.
Not at all. The fix is what Musashi says. Act freely, be decisive, but if the situation dramatically changes, cut to a new angle immediately. Don't be stubbornly attached, be fluid.
And the final mistake.
Mistake 5 is rushing.
Mistaking speed for timing.
Exactly. The fix is remembering that timing is not hurry. You need to move smoothly, not frantically. A frantic cut is always messy. A timed cut is clean.
This has been a lot to take in today, but I think it is one of the most practical toolkits we have ever covered. Let's do a quick recap.
Let's bring it all together.
First, the killing sword is the tool that cuts confusion and ends the drift. Next, will is steady intention that survives the pressure of the moment. Also, mood must be governed. Anger and panic are tactical failures.
Right.
Presence is a signal. Your posture and tone tell the world you are ready. Guardrails are essential. Be firm, but not cool. You can apply the TET to work, relationships, and habits to stop the energy leak. And finally, use the Clarity Cut Reset whenever the mind stops or sticks.
That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
It is really all about reclaiming your agency.
We have covered the self today. We have covered the inner blade. But strategy isn't just about you in a vacuum. It is about the world around you.
That is right. You are not alone in the void.
Next time on episode 11, we're going to look outward. The title is The Life-Giving Sword, Perception and Distance. We will move from the self to the other, learning to really see the unseen.
It is the natural next step. Because once you control yourself, you can finally begin to perceive the world truly.
I cannot wait for that one. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 1. The Killing Sword, Decisive Clarity. 2. Cut off delay and drifting. 3. Will intention that survives pressure. 4. Commitment without drama. 5. Mood drives mistakes when unmanaged. 6. Govern tone, pace, and heat. 7. Presence is signal, calm, firm, clear. 8. Decisiveness is not aggression. 9. Clarity, cut, reset, soften, and name. 10. Timing is not hurry. Pass.